we're talking this one platform does like document signing, invoicing, all of your customer service stuff. Like you can text, you can email, you can call people, you can do AI assistance. It can do it all. You can build your website, you can build your course and membership platform.
Welcome to the Coles Ventures podcast.
Thanks for being on, first of all. Because I actually, when I started this podcast, I thought that was going to be the hardest part. And it's actually been the easiest part is getting people on. So that's been cool. But yeah, if you just want to do like kind of a elevator pitch, what you do, who you are, where you've been, what do you want to do, goals, aspirations, desires.
And how long do we have for that?
We can go as long or short as you want.
Well, thank you for having me on. I am Stephanie High. I moved to Spokane about 4 or 5 years ago now.
Okay. Where'd you move from?
I'm originally from San Diego, Southern California, but I have spent, I think I calculated it out to like a quarter to a third of my adulthood outside of the United States.
Oh.
Yeah.
International.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
What is that? How did that come about? That's fun.
So actually right out of high school, I started working for Sony.
Right out of high school.
Right out of high school. I was 18.
That's crazy.
I started, I think it was February, March timeframe, and I had graduated June before.
Yeah.
And I started with like a mall job and all that kind of stuff, and ended up connecting with someone who was doing data entry for Sony.
Okay.
And when I say data entry, I mean like this was back when they didn't have cloud systems in place. Yeah. And so I was actually a part of the team that was building out the infrastructure and how we syndicate content and information.
Oh my gosh.
So the data entry part of it was moving from PowerPoint and PDFs into an actual database.
Wow.
So
that is a crazy job to just be like, were you at the mall when you met this person?
Well, so I was at, I don't know if you are familiar or remember glamour shots in the mall where you would sit and you do like the posy photos and all of that stuff.
There's a photo of me in a cowboy hat and like full on Western wear when I'm like 3 or 4 years old.
I was going to say like 25?
Yeah, right, like a month ago. No, black and white in my mom's living room. And I'm just looking so upset for whatever reason.
So I was the photographer.
No. So you had to be like, right here, smile.
Right,
and these
exactly.
Kids are just pissed.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I did everything from like new baby photos to quinceañera to like couple engagement photos, all of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you like it though?
It was interesting.
It was fun. Yeah.
It was definitely interesting.
So
no, it was really interesting because I don't know, I guess it's been enough time that I can disclose this, but the owner didn't want to pay us.
Oh.
So there was a lot of drama with that of hey, I submitted my time card. Like, can you like make sure that I get paid for the hours that I was there?
No.
They were like, oh, it's coming. Right. But so that's like how I started is I was at the mall working in glamour shots, and one of the makeup artists, her boyfriend was working for Sony.
Oh, okay.
And so she was like, oh yeah, they're trying to hire and get data entry people. And I was like, I can do data entry. Like, why not? And so they, after a couple interviews of like the most remedial resume of
what are your top 5 greatest accomplishments?
I'm not even joking. She called me and she was like, what does this tell me? Like, explain your resume to me because I'm not understanding it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, like, I was able to convince her. I'm like, I'm really eager to take charge. I can learn anything. I'm like, I'm straight out of high school. Like, hire me. And so, my first job, my first real life job, I guess, outside of the mall was working for Sony.
That is a crazy first job to just kind of like stumble upon your life. I mean, not like, anything wild in Sony, but like still, that's like still cool. I mean,
but it's one of those, like, if you don't take the risk, if you don't take the chance, if you don't shoot the shot, then you're not going to get anywhere, or you only get as far as you can. You got to take that extra step. And so I was just like, I'm really eager. And they were like, all right, cool. And they brought me in, and I was a contractor, and I did that for, I think it was like 4 years or so. And I moved to a different job. Like, I built my way up in the company. Awesome. And then eventually there was an international assignment available, and I applied for it.
That's so sweet.
And so after working for Sony in the US and San Diego for 6 years, I got assigned to Tokyo.
No way.
And so I lived in Tokyo with Sony for another 3 years.
Okay. So do you speak Japanese then?
Chotodake.
Okay. Yeah. So you still get around?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's really funny because like if you talk about language, I learned Spanish in high school. Like that's what I took. Even in university, I think I did a couple of years of Spanish as well. And so in terms of your brain and how we function, it's really interesting that like your first foreign language is your default foreign language.
Yeah.
So when I was learning Japanese, I was filtering it through Spanish before I got it to English in my processing.
Oh, interesting.
And so now, like, it's really funny because, like, bread in Japanese is pan, which is Spanish, right? Because of the Spanish coming to Asia and influencing it. So any foreign words in Japanese are either English or Spanish. So having that foundation and the a, I, U, E, O helped me understand and learn Japanese. Don't try to have a conversation with me because I'm not there anymore. Restaurants, taxi drivers, like no problem. Like I can get around. But yeah, so like I do speak a little Spanish. I speak a little Japanese as well.
There we go.
I dabble.
I mean, I feel like more than probably 99% of anyone that will ever go there. Like I went to Tokyo like 2 years ago and knew like nothing. Like didn't even try. I was like, they probably speak English. Like we'll figure it out. Little did I know they do not in most places, or it's like very little.
Well, so that's funny because I went to Finland when I was 15 and no English at all when I went there. Now, if you go, they speak totally beautiful English. In Japan, the difference is that they want to perfect everything. Like if you think about food, like the highest concentration of Michelin restaurants, I think, are in Japan and Tokyo. And they always try to perfect everything that they do. And so when it comes to language, they actually speak a lot of English. Yeah. They just don't want to try until it's at a good enough.
That makes sense, yeah.
You know, they want a certain standard. They want to be perfect at it before they try. Whereas we're over here like, I'm going to blow it trying it. Yeah. But, you know, like that's something that I respect us a little bit more in try it. Right. If it doesn't work, like... I have a bad story about this. Like I screwed up the word for beautiful versus I hate because they sound very, very similar in Japanese. And so I was trying to tell this shop owner that I loved and I thought this item of his was beautiful. And I realized like 2 days later, I was like, oh, I just told him I hate it. And I was like, oh God, oh, no. I hope he was like, oh, gaijin, you know, like stupid foreigner. It's fine.
She doesn't mean that.
You're right.
He's still thinking about that to this day. It's like,
probably not.
What did she mean by that?
But so like, if you've been there, like all the signs are in English as well.
It wasn't hard. Yeah. And it was like the people that did. Yeah, it was good. We figured it out.
But my favorite part of having enough Japanese to get by is finding those like little like mom and pop shops that like nobody goes to unless you're a local. And so if anybody wants to go to Japan and take me along as your tour guide, I'm more than happy.
That's awesome.
I haven't been back since I left.
Really?
So I miss it.
Yeah, I bet. It's a cool city.
Yeah.
Cool country. Yeah. Okay. So then that took you to Tokyo and you're there for 3 years.
So it's 3 years with Sony. And then I decided I didn't want to come back. I wasn't ready to come back. Yeah.
And was the contract just for those 3 years?
Yes. And so I actually went through 2 rounds of layoffs with Sony in 2008 because I started, I don't care about aging me. I've done pretty well for myself. Yeah. I started at Sony in 2005. Okay. And then so in 2008, I made it through that layoff of that time. Yeah. And then in 2011 is when I went to Japan, and then I was supposed to return 3 years after that. And then there was the layoffs in 2014. And so out of sight, out of mind. And so I was a part of that cut because I was on any org chart in the US. And I was like, well, I don't really want to come back. And there were plenty of companies hunting me down there because they wanted more foreigners who had experience at Japanese companies. And plus Sony's name
helps a little bit.
Helps a lot in Japan. And so I ended up working for ASICS.
Like the shoe company?
Yep.
Okay.
Sports gear.
Yeah.
So we kind of know them in the US as a running company. But in Japan, they're like, I don't know if they are anymore, but like they were the top baseball
interesting
accessory brand and such. And so I was there when they were doing like the negotiations around the Olympics and sponsorship and all of that kind of stuff. So it was cool to be privy to all of that. But when there was no more upward mobility for me and expansion of my title and career and that kind of stuff because of whatever reasons, that's when I was like, okay, where do I go next? What do I do next? And so I came back to the US and I was like, I'm just going to go on the road and be an entrepreneur. And I headed south. So I lived in Mexico City for a year.
I was going to say, you're already in San Diego, so that's about as south as you can go. Like, all right.
So then I lived in Mexico City for a year. And then because of the pollution, I had to leave. And so I ended up going.
Is it really that bad?
It is a bowl. And so a lot of the pollution gets trapped inside of that bowl.
Is it still that bad or is it better now?
It's been years, so I hope it's been better. But it was not so apparent for me living there that I had any issue with it. But my mom was like, do you realize you're coughing all the time? And I actually went on a trip to the Caribbean and was on some boats and stuff and doing that whole ordeal. And she's like, you stopped coughing. Like, you should probably look into this.
Maybe
and I was like,
maybe just, pay attention to that.
Yeah. I was like, all right, well, my career is not taking off in Mexico City. So let's keep heading south and see what happens. And so I moved to Belize and I lived there for a couple of months and then returned to the US because of some family stuff and ended up being stuck in San Diego for COVID. Yeah.
That's wild. So then, I'm sorry, what was in Mexico City? Just vibes.
Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah.
It was fuck all.
All right.
Like, it was fun. Like, the way that I kind of, from an emotional perspective, position it is that when I was in Japan, they're not very touchy-feely, like culturally, right? And so I didn't hug a ton of people. Like I hugged my friends and stuff like that. So going to Mexico, like everybody's like, more touchy-feely. So I was like, I need that extreme from one extreme to the other. Like I need that community. I need that embrace. And just Mexico is amazing. Belize is amazing too. But like you're one of the family as soon as you set foot there. Like you get invited to everything. And I felt that the same in Japan. Like I had friends who, like all the expats kind of collected together and all of the Japanese people who like to hang out with the expats, like all collected together. So anytime I moved anywhere, there was always like a core group of people that are like, hey, come into the circle. And so I think like that's been the most impactful experience I have exploring the world.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Is that something that you want to do in the future? Do you think, like, are you already eyeing, like, your next international country that you're going to reside in for a little bit? Or are you kind of settling in here?
Well, actually, that's one of the businesses that I've recently started called Hike With Her.
Yes.
And it's founded on community resilience and how do we collectively come together and embrace each other, whether that's through mentorship or financial support or like how do we support each other's needs? Because with certain grants, programs, federal funding, all of those things kind of moving away, like we know that 90% of women reinvest their income into their families and into the community. And as resources dissipate in the community or go elsewhere or, just aren't here anymore, like we need more of that. So how do we break some silos so that we can help and support each other? So I think like when I say that those experiences abroad have really impacted me, it comes back to that at its core of that community resilience, that we are all responsible for taking care of each other and making sure that we collectively help each other rise.
Yeah. I love it. So that was the newest one. I guess we'll come back to that. So then backing up a little bit, in San Diego for COVID.
Yep.
COVID ends. How did you then get up to Spokane, Washington?
So my partner had a buddy who moved up here from San Diego, I think 15 to 20 years ago. Okay. And so we were like, okay, it's kind of a soft landing, somewhere else to go outside of San Diego, more into the hiking lifestyle and that kind of stuff. So this was one of many places that I was looking at work and opportunities and options, and this was the one that panned out, and so we moved up here.
I love it. This is more of a personal question, not a personal question, but a lot of people, I think, when they're thinking about moving somewhere or thinking about switching jobs, the job usually comes first before the move. Is that true in your experience? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because there's a lot of people out there that just graduated college, like might be looking for new jobs, and they're trying to kind of situate that. What are your thoughts on that?
So I'm a strong advocate of having something grounding, something to pivot. Like when you're talking about like the pivot of a door, you've got something that holds one spot in place, and then you're rotating based on that one spot. So when I moved to Japan, I was moving with the same company. I was kind of doing the same job, but in a new environment. When I moved from Sony to ASICS, I was in the same country, in the same city, but doing 2 different jobs, 2 different companies. So every time that I've rotated or moved through different environments, I've had something to ground me, which is why coming up here was a good option of having people who already are here and knowing someone who's here, even if it's just one person.
Right.
But having something that grounds you, whether it's a job or a community or, you know, something that draws you to that location. Maybe it's hiking. Okay, now I've got all those trails to ground me. You have to, I think, for your psychological grounding foundation, you need to have something that connects you to that city, to that vibe, to that job, to whatever it is, whatever you need as an individual. I have found that it helps to have that one thing that's constant that you can always fall back on.
Yeah. And that kind of goes nicely into, I don't know if it was your first business, but kind of that like mental health coaching, counseling, that portion of things. How did that all come to be?
Yeah. So, as you can imagine, with starting in the corporate world at 18, I was also in school. And so I was kind of in school the entire time that I was working at Sony. And when I went abroad, they were like, oh, now you're an international student and you have to jump through all of these hoops and such. Yeah. And I was like, forget that. And so I kind of put my education on hold. And then when I came back to the US, I finally finished my bachelor's degree in psychology. And because I had always been in school, I was like, all right, what do I do next? Yeah. And even though I was working full time and all of that stuff, like, I decided to get my master's degree, and I was like looking at what programs at the same school that I was at, because it was the school that I am currently at as well is designed for working professionals. So it tailors, especially in your bachelor's and master's, it's, if you're in person, it's 2 nights a week, 2 weekends a month or something like that. You know, like it's very like you're doing 4 hours each time, but it's very highly concentrated. Yeah. And you do one class and then you move on to the next class. Each month is a new class. So like that really worked for my learning style of like, let's highly focus on one thing, learn it, and then move on to the next thing. And it was excellent because like if it was a shit class, you could shrug it off. You're like, okay, it's a month and I'm done. If it's a great class, you're like, oh, I wish I had another class, but it's fine. You know, like you got to take the wins and losses together. And so they have an online program. And so I decided to get my master's in performance psychology, which is the umbrella term for sports, business, and performing arts. So generally thinking in terms of anything that has high pressure. Yeah. I think of like, you know, you think of sports like football players, basketball players, all that kind of stuff. But you also have to talk about surgeons and frontline workers, EMTs, you know, like performing arts. Like if you're going on stage night after night, how do you not fumble on your speech or your, you know, all of that stuff. And so it was really interesting to me in terms of like how we perform, how we show up, how we can, you know, be consistent in our efforts and show up at our best, as our best selves over and over again. Yeah. And so that's what really drew me to performance psychology. Okay. And so that's where I got my master's in performance psychology, because I was like, what do I do next? Yeah. Okay. And so I finished that and then started my doctorate. So
you're currently in the doctorate?
Yeah, I believe they call it an ABD, which is all but dissertation. So I just got into my dissertation prep classes. And so I'm about to, in another month or so, start my dissertation.
Okay.
So that
and
should be fun.
What was the thought process behind going from the master's, starting your business, to then deciding to get a doctorate?
So the doctorate is there's twofold to it. Like, I think it's kind of cool to be a doctor.
Well, yeah.
Like, my last name is Hai. I've already purchased drstephaniehai.com. Okay, thank you. But like Dr. Hai is kind of a cool name to begin with. But then also I am a strong advocate of continuous learning, whatever that capacity is, whether it's formal education. And, you know, we're going to talk probably about AI and tech in a little bit, but like how the education system has to change because of AI and other tools and stuff like that. So I'm all about continuous learning, continuous improvement. My business is called Kaizen Catalyst, KaizenCX, and that's all about continuous improvement. And that comes from being in Japan, that everyone from the janitor through to the CEO is working towards a common goal. And that's something that I see in a lot of businesses, is that they might have that Northern Star, but they don't know how to get there, or they veer off track and forget to go back to that Northern Star. So I think a little bit of the Kaizen side of things, along with that performance psychology of like, how do you move people towards one common goal? And that can be self-improvement, technology improvement, community improvement, like whatever that looks like in those stages or in those phases or parts of your life. But so that's how I kind of started my PhD, is because I'm a strong advocate in walking the talk of continuous improvement. But that's also what has led me to the community resilience, whereas Kaizen Catalyst is much more about the individual resilience and how you can show up every day. And that very much comes from my own trauma and the experiences that I've had in life. I've had diverse experiences. I've been in countries where I didn't speak the language, that I was the racial minority, ethnic minority. I've, you know, been on both sides of the fence. And so that is really built around, like, how do we, within our own lives, continue to show up and be our best selves?
Definitely. So you have KaizenCX, Kaizen Catalyst, one's for personal, one's for communities. Could you
hold? Kaizen Catalyst is for personal.
Okay.
KaizenCX is customer experience, so that's technology.
Okay.
And then Hike with Her is the community resilience.
So many things. Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's all good. Thank you for clarifying.
But that's also how I kind of work personally, is that like I love being able to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I think that's what keeps me going and keeps me motivated and keeps me consistently showing up, is because I have these diverse avenues for presenting myself in different ways.
Yeah. What is your breakdown for each of the companies? Do you have like a set day that you're like, okay, I'm only going to work on this section of the company today? And then how do you split that up?
So that's where like the technology comes into play a lot. So yes, I do have times allotted for these different businesses, but it's not necessarily exclusively like, oh, here's how I'm going to set my calendar and I'm going to block off time. Like that is important. Yeah. But within my CRM, I have the hours set for when you can book me for those businesses. And so I have it ingrained into those businesses. Okay, this is my allotted time that people can book my time for this business, not just when I'm allotting the time for my business. Yeah. So that's where like the technology really comes in play, of systems and processes that help you be able to function with having multiple businesses, having multiple ideas, doing many different things. Yeah. Having that process in place really is beneficial. Like I have clients who tell me all the time, like, oh, after working with you, now I can start brainstorming and being creative again and thinking of other things, because you're not sitting in that tedious task work. Now you have an automation that does that for you. Yeah.
Interesting. So which one came first?
Well, so I'm going to try to simplify this as much as possible. Kaizen Catalyst used to be the marketing consulting / tech business. Okay. But I like that name better for the mental performance and the coaching and consulting business. And so that is why Kaizen Catalyst, although was formally created in California as an LLC in, I think, 2018, but currently today, where it sits is that that's the coaching business, whereas KaizenCX, so focusing on the CX, the customer experience part of it, is where the technology consulting comes from.
Okay, so the tech side of it came first.
More or less, yeah.
More or less.
Yeah.
What was the thought when you were starting that up? What was the spark that made you do that?
So really coming from a marketing and business development framework, I have seen, and I still continue to see, a lot of businesses working in silos of like, oh, marketing's here, customer service is here, sales is here. You know, they're all separate and diverse and doing their own things and not really coming together. And so where the technology consulting kind of comes from is because I've seen the entire marketing structure and how that gets left behind. That's the last to be integrated into the conversations around technology. And really where I see marketing these days is the R&D. That's the front line with the customer. And so customer experience, sales is all, we used to say sales and marketing, right? So why did we silo that out when really it all needs to come together? So where we kind of position ourselves is kind of like a Deloitte, KPMG, Ernst & Young, those kind of companies, but we use technology as the foundation for it. So if you have your foundation set, you can't build a sturdy house on an unsturdy foundation, right? So if you build your technology with a sturdy foundation of, okay, here's how sales, marketing, customer service all interplay with each other, IT, how all of that works together in tandem, because the customer does not care who's doing what. They just care that they want a consistent customer experience. That's where that business came from, is how do we look top to bottom, bottom to top, and build the infrastructure that works best, whether you're a startup or you're an enterprise company that has 10,000 employees. And we cater to all of that. We support all of that. And that's because we can have that bird's eye view of like, okay, we know where it started. So I personally have over 20 years of of business and marketing experience, and I've been on the forefront of technology. Like my first job was entering stuff into the cloud, right? It's come full circle. And my business partner, he has 20 years of that traditional tech advisory position of telecom, cybersecurity, all of those things. And so coming together, combining the two of us is such a powerful equation to be able to help support companies. And we've seen the last 20 years of development to get to where we are today. And then on top of that, I add in that I come from a human behavior perspective. So how do we design technology around humans, not the other way around?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
My gosh. And then, I mean, when you're starting out, how are you going after, did you decide you were going to work with a specific size of company? Did you guys have like a target geography you guys were looking at? How did that all structure out?
Like, I'm going to be honest here. I don't think we had a business plan set up first. It was kind of like okay, this is what this customer needs. Let's go figure it out. We want to be the yes man. Like, we constantly want to be like, oh, I don't know right now, but let me go figure it out. Let me take this to the drawing board and figure it out. So we've had different customers come into the equation for, technology, like whether it's cybersecurity or you need new internet to your building, or like there's some super cool technology around harmonic filters that like you can attach to a big office space water system, because the water that's being pushed into the building is being pushed in. So there's air pockets. So you're paying for air and water in your water bill. So if you can use these harmonic filters to filter out the bubbles, the air pockets, then you're just paying for water. And that's an IoT product, right? So we have a portfolio. We do have what's called TSDs, Technology Solution Distributors, I believe is what it stands for, that we partner with. And because of the partners that we have almost 5,000 service providers in our portfolio that we can tap into. And we know how good those service providers are at providing services, who is going to be best for a big, massive entity, what's going to be best for a small startup.
Yeah.
And so we can allocate based on that. So that's where my business partner takes on more of the enterprise level, because that's historically where he comes from, but I feed in my 2 cents every so often, right? And then I take on the smaller, more startups or more scaling businesses. And so actually a local business here came to us and was like, I'm looking for a CRM. And we were like, all right, well, what do you need? And we started going through this whole gambit of like, okay, you need this, you need that, you want an integrated system. Okay, well, we don't have a service provider that we think would be ideal. So now we have a white labeled CRM that we called Kaizen CRM. I can't get away from it. But so we have Kaizen CRM, which helps us help our clients, right? And so with that CRM, you are not only getting the CRM, you get KaizenCX as your tech support team. You get my phone number, you get my email address, you can contact me directly if you have any problems. But then also we now have a package of onboarding support with that, of if you buy that 3-month package, I am by your side every week. We have weekly meetings, an hour every single week, where you and I, if you were my client, we sit down and we have a conversation. We start it with a 2-hour conversation about your business, where you see it going, what you want to do, and we negotiate what does the human do and what does the technology do. And we build out your customer journey based on that. And then over the 3-month period, because of my marketing background, I am overseeing your marketing activities. I'm double checking on your work, and I can see, okay, this is where the customer came in to your journey, and this is where they go. And I make sure that all of those automations that we're building is functioning the way that you want it to. Not necessarily like we can systematize it, like here's exactly what we want to do, but also, oh, now we have feedback. What is the customer experiencing? How are they behaving based on those automations? And we can alter it and tailor it for your business based on that full see-through, follow-through of that customer journey. And it's all data-driven. We're all looking at the, specs on a regular basis to make sure that, okay, you're investing in marketing, you're investing in these sales drivers. How do you make sure that that results in what you want it to result in, and that customer experience that you want to have? And so I'm not only your tech consultant, I'm your business coach, I'm your marketing coach, I'm your human design, your human behavior coach in that 3-month period. And unlike all of these other platforms that are like, all right, thanks for using it, I'll see you later. I'm always here. You always have contact with me. So we started that because of a need from a client.
Is this a somewhat recent thing, or has this been around for a bit?
So the CRM or my use of the CRM?
Both, I suppose.
Because we're white labeling it. The CRM has been around for 10 plus years. So the technology's there. It works. I use it for all of my businesses. That's how I'm able to do everything that I do. Using it for should I say hi? Hi, baby. Using it for clients that we started in the middle of the summer last year. And so it's been like a heavy-handed on-ramp for me to understand the systems, but I'm in it every single day. On multiple accounts, doing multiple different things. Like, we're talking, this one platform does like document signing, invoicing, all of your customer service stuff. Like, you can text, you can email, you can call people, you can do AI assistance, you can like AI conversations. Like, you can, whether through a chat bot or through like AI agent calls, like it can do it all. You can build your website, you can build your course and membership platform through it. Like, this is replacing MailChimp, it's replacing Kajabi or School, it's replacing your WordPress or whatever website you're using. Like, it is one integrated platform that can do not everything, but a lot.
Pretty close. That's insane. And then was it you and your business partner that developed this and made this into a thing? I mean, how did you even start doing this? Because I think most people think of CRMs and they're thinking of like Salesforce, Airtable. I mean, there's like a million of them out there. What was kind of your thought behind, well, none of these are really working the way that this one specific one works. Like, we'll just make our own.
So first, we got to take a step back to a technology advisor. Yeah. Most people don't know that technology advisors exist.
Yeah.
What is a technology advisor? So a technology advisor is kind of like an insurance broker. So you come to me and you say, I need this, that, and the other thing. And I go into my service portfolio and I say, okay, this is who you should work with. This is going to get you the best deal. And that is like a core business that there are many people all over the nation, internationally, that are doing that. And they have their own portfolios. The reason that we started doing that is because there's so many of them that can't do what we do. They don't have either the plethora of service providers that we have, or they don't have marketing and business development and human behavior and all of that stuff. So the way that you normally do that is there are some companies that will charge you for consulting fees, partner you like an insurance broker, and then get a commission from those service providers for partnering you with those service providers. And we don't do that. We only get the commission. So anything on the front end is free. You come to us and you say, okay, for Cal's Ventures, I need this, that, and the other thing, and we go source it, and you don't pay us a dime. There's no transactions between us. Yeah. Only the service provider pays us, which is very similar to an insurance brokerage, right? And so with that, we try to be as ethical as possible. And so in that process, most of the time, on average, there's higher and there's lower. On average, we save people 30% in cost.
Wow.
And many times we're giving them better tools, more progressive tools. But we know the language of the service providers. We can do the negotiation. Yeah. That is a standard business. However, most of those businesses rely on referral partners. And we have referral partners. And so they bring us clients and we do the deal, and then we get a portion of the commission, they get a portion of the commission. Cool. Transparency across the board, right? Well, when it came to the CRM, we were like, oh, okay, there's nobody doing this the way that we could do it. And so we were like, okay, what are we missing? What can we offer? What can we achieve? How can we do it better than someone else can do it? And so we pay for the platform. It's white labeled, like I mentioned before. For those who don't know what white labeling is, it's someone else's technology. We're putting our logo on it. But that also means that we're not responsible for the tech infrastructure and the updates and the coding and all of that stuff on the back end, the speccing out all of the like upgrades and new features and all of that stuff. Yeah. And so we are your first line of defense to get to that. And we help submit tickets as to like, okay, this is this is a feature that we want to see in the future. This is how we want it to function in the future. And so that we can help you grow your business using the same platform and grow with you and scale with you. As a part of that, there is platform fees that you pay for, but I charge you whatever I want to with a bare minimum, right? And so the platform that we're using, it's $97 per month. Like that's how we position it. That's the lowest we're allowed to openly position it as. But everybody else is gatekeeping. So for that $97, that might be 1 or 5 people that get access to it, like a Salesforce, like a HubSpot. You're paying for the number of users. Yeah. And then you're also paying for added features. Yeah. And so because we are so genuinely wanting to see businesses succeed, we charge $97 for everything. Wow. I don't care if you have 1 user. I don't care if you have 100, 120 users. Yeah. I don't care. You get the full package for that low price so that I'm not scaling it up based on how many users you have, how many emails you send, how many, I'm not doing any of that. And that all comes from, we want companies to succeed. Yeah. It does not matter. Nobody cares as an end consumer if you are just starting out and you have no money, or if you're an enterprise business making multi-millions or billions of dollars, they want the same experience. And technology doesn't cost all the same. And so as a business owner myself, like I want to make sure that if you have 10 employees, if you have 20 employees, if you have 75 employees, you are still getting the value. I'd rather have you using the system and using it correctly and using it fully than gouging you for every little penny that you spend. And so that's why we created the CRM, is because we couldn't find anything that fit. I had a client that came to me 2 or 3 years ago who was looking for a new CRM, and she was grandfathered into a certain cost point. But we know as tech advisors, that only lasts so long. And then they're like, we're going to upgrade you. Right. You got to get out of the system. Yep. And so that's what we were like, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like if the platform, if they start charging us more, then like, yeah, maybe we need to increase the rate. Sure. Or maybe we need to sign on one more client to cover the cost, right. You know, like whatever that looks like. But really it's about the customer experience. It's our customers are going to be successful. Like that's our goal, is that customer experience. And like, we don't want to gatekeep against that. We want to make sure.
Novel idea.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, we use, this product, that product, whatever. And like same thing. It's like there's tiers there. You can only have 2 emails, 3 emails. Like as soon as you get above this, then it's a whole other thing. It's like, why is it not just that? Why isn't it just give me whatever it is? Well, just stay there.
And it's the hidden cost too, because like with MailChimp or Constant Contact or any of those kind of email platforms, the price that you're paying is up to a certain amount of emails, right? Yeah. And then they automatically push you into the next pay bracket because you overshot that. Well, the reason that you're overshooting that is because it's not based on emails sent, it's emails addresses stored in the system. So even if you have people who have D&D'd, do not disturb, right. Your email, they have like unsubscribed, they're like, do not contact me. Yeah. They are going to charge you more for that email just existing in that platform. And so you're getting pushed up because you're not cleaning it out. Yeah. And so that's also something we don't do. We don't charge extras for that. Like you get charged based on send rates, not based on storage.
Which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because does it cost anything to store?
We pay the platform fee and like it's there and it's fine and you know.
That's crazy. Okay, well that makes a lot more sense. So yeah, for anyone in Spokane looking for a CRM that is
check out KaizenCRM.biz.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. Well, okay, that's fantastic. So then, oh my God, you have so many things. I don't know how you keep it all straight in your head all the time, but
different tabs.
Yeah. How does the personal psychology aspect come into all of this?
Like, how is that as a company, or how does that play into technology?
Both.
Okay, so let's talk about AI for a minute.
Let's do it.
So the inventors of AI, and I say AI with air quotes because artificial intelligence isn't actually intelligent.
Right.
It is a glorified database system. Like there are so much smarter people who could talk to you a little bit more about this than me. But if you talk to the people who started AI, the inventors of AI, or what we're calling AI today, it is built around how we understand human brains. That's where it comes from. How do we access information? How do we store information? How do we craft a message from the information that we have? Yeah. That's what AI is. And so understanding technology and where technology is coming from and where technology is going, the more we understand the human element of it, the more we understand the technology. We are only capable at this point in time, until you get quantum physics into play, right? We are only capable of knowing what we know. Yeah. And we know humans. We've explored humans and other animals, right? Sure. But that's what we know. That's the database of information. So our technology is reflective of who we are as individuals, as humans, as collective. And so the more that you understand neuroscience and psychology and how humans interact and how humans perform and behave, the more you can follow the trail of technology and where it's going. Because we can only build it based on what we know.
Yeah. That makes sense. I've never thought about it that way, but that totally makes sense. So then the coaching business.
Yeah.
Do people use your different businesses kind of in aggregate? Like, do you have a client that's like using your CRM and Hike with Her and also your coaching business, and it's kind of all in one? Or are there more people that are just interested in, I want to learn about the coaching business because I'm struggling mentally with my job? Or how does that all play in together?
They're all very separate. I'm not going to say that they don't have crossover because I am me. Yeah. I am one individual, and it doesn't work like, and we can talk about trauma and like not being able, trauma-informed care or trauma-informed leadership is knowing that people don't leave stuff at the door when they come into the room. Yeah. And so like I am me. I created all 3 businesses with some support, of course. Some insights, some great coaches of my own, that I tap into, networks that I tap into, because nothing's created in isolation. Sure. But they very much have different audiences, and different people are coming into them at different times. And I think that's what's motivating to me about it, is that, okay, I've got individual concerns. I need to, do some HR consulting over here. Oh, well, how does your technology play into how your staff is interacting with each other? And so I'm able to tap into other things that are kind of unique because of that. When it comes to the Hike with Her, like the reason it exists and it has the potential for what it does is because I've built the technology behind it. Yeah. The infrastructure behind it, whether it's white labeling or building stuff out myself or, automations or whatever that is custom built for that audience. And so being able to utilize technology to reach more people, to impact people from a psychological and human condition standpoint, I find very interesting and fascinating. And I think that that's like the way to use technology is, how do you tap into humans? Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't even know. There's a lot of things. I'm trying to think which question to start with. When people come to you for more on the coaching side of things, is there a common pattern that you see amongst industries, amongst, I'm assuming all these are like pretty, high performing, high stress, all of that. What are they coming to you with that might be similar in all of their jobs?
So number one, coming to me as an individual, because I do group workshops as well.
Individual.
Yeah. So coming to me as an individual on the coaching side of things, a lot of burnout.
Yeah. And what does that look like? Because I feel like that gets thrown out a lot. And then some people just use it as like they work a lot, but they're not. And then some people actually have it. And so then they get the weird, like almost a bad taste in people's mouths when it's like, you're not burned out. You're just like lazy, or you're just like, you don't like your job or whatever. So from a professional's point of view, what does that look like?
I absolutely love this question, because any workshop, anything that I do, I always start with definitions. What is the definition of a term? So with burnout, it's very different for different people. So I want to take a step back from that. It all comes back to trauma at the end of the day, right? And the definition that I identify with for trauma, and it's not my definition, I've taken it from other people who have been more in trauma spaces than I have, is too much, too quickly, and too often. Okay. Very subjective. So burnout is not having that support system and those resources in place that you need to be resilient from potential trauma. Okay. So if you are experiencing too much, too often, too frequently, if it's just too much, burnout is a symptom of that. And so like for me, the worst burnout I ever experienced, because I've experienced burnout multiple times. And that's because based on my trauma, I actually a couple of years ago was diagnosed with complex PTSD, which is typically childhood-based trauma. Sure. In my case, it was some form of neglect. And so because of that, I've always been eager to please. And so I've been on the hamster wheel of validation. And so what is that? What does that look like? It's, I'm running and I'm not getting the validation that I need. I'm not getting the approval I need. So I'm going to run faster. Because if I just do a little bit more, if I achieve a little bit more, if I'm just a bit more, then I'm going to get the validation that I seek so desperately. That attention, that visibility, feeling seen, feeling loved, feeling all of the things. And so because of that, you run and run and run, and you're going to hit a wall at some point.
Yeah.
And that's burnout, right? Is hitting that wall of like, I can't function anymore. And for me, that was an extreme case of I was looking in the mirror and I constantly was looking past myself. I couldn't see myself anymore. And so it was from that all of this has spiraled into, now I have 3 businesses, because I've been physically forced to take a step back and be like, okay, where can I make the most impact in people's lives, in my life? How can I make the most meaning out of my life? Like, what is my purpose here? What are these bigger questions that I have? And so the number one thing that I see the most is burnout. And on top of that, the number one growing industry is the wellness industry, right? And so it's like, take this supplement, do this meditation,
work out
take
7
this
times
class.
a week.
Exactly. And that's the number way to burn out, is because you're not listening to yourself. You're listening to everybody else. It's your external voices that are telling you, this is what I need to do, versus you listening to your own intuition or whatever you want to call it, of like, this is what I need. Not even just what do I need in general. This is what I need right now at this moment in time. And so one of the number one things, the key takeaway that I always give to everybody is take the smoking break. And I know that sounds bizarre, but for many, many years, we used to be like, oh, I'm going to step out of the office and take a smoking break. And you'd take 10 to 15 minutes to go smoke that cigarette and then walk back to your desk and start whatever you were doing again. Yeah. And now with this hustle culture that we've been pushed into and we've created for ourselves as a society,
it's crazy.
We have negated that smoking break, taking that break, taking that time to step away and take a breather. Yeah. And so I tell everyone, if you are feeling like something like burnout is coming your way, take the smoking break.
Yeah, that makes sense. I recently, maybe not recently, a couple months ago, saw this LinkedIn post of some, I don't know if it was a founder, if it was an employee at a startup or who it was, but they were talking about the 996. Have you heard of this?
I think so.
It's like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week.
Okay.
And that's like what they're preaching of like, if you're not doing, and then someone from New York commented and was like, oh, in New York, we do like the 997. It's it's like all the time. And it's just more and more and more and more and more.
But it's so funny because like, okay, that's coming from US, right? But if you look at Europe, they're like trying out like 4-day work weeks. Yeah. And they're seeing improvements in health. They're seeing like all of these data points indicating like less is more. Yeah. And like we don't take care of ourselves. Yeah. And I know it's such a privilege to make that statement. Yeah. But in that privilege, shouldn't we take care of ourselves a little bit better? Yeah. It
was a weird thing. I have somebody, or I have a friend, and his parents live over in France. And so I just went and visited them. Not to be that guy, but and it was interesting. I mean, you notice more people hanging out. And it's like at lunch, because they have like 2-hour lunch breaks. And so from noon until 2, like they're not busy at dinners, which like if you go around in the US, like the busiest times for restaurants is dinner, because everyone's off of work, you can relax, whatever. Over there, the busiest times for restaurants is lunch, because everyone's off for 2 hours. Everyone goes out to lunch. They're having, lunch with their coworkers. They're meeting up with their spouses, their families, their friends, whatever. And then when they go home, they're at the end of the day, it's like, then you don't really go to the restaurants or cafes or whatever.
You go home.
Right. Just hang out. But it's just so interesting. I mean, here you go out to lunch and you see a couple people, usually guys in suits are having it, and they're like, they're literally working at lunch, right? It's like, oh, we're going to go out for a lunch, work or whatever. But how many of those lunches do you not talk about work? None of them.
It's really interesting. Like you bring all this up, like, and I think there is definitely a cultural perspective of like, I work to live or I live to work, and we are very much in the live to work stage of things. Yeah. But like talking about like, okay, I go to lunch and that's where the business happens. Whereas like in Japan, it's the drinks after work is where the business happens. And it's just really interesting to see that like cultural variation and being such a melting pot of cultures in the US, like no wonder we butt heads from time to time.
Seriously, I know. I bring that up all the time. I'm like, why do you think the US has so many problems? Like other countries, like, yeah, you get little people here and there, but like the US was like built on that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let's put all these people with all these differing ideas in the same room and like, yeah, they'll get along. Like, what? That's not gonna happen.
Let's make
like,
lunch and dinner match.
Yeah, exactly. For people that might be listening and thinking that they might have burnout, yes or no, and I'm sure there's a billion articles on like, you know, top 10 signs you might have burnout. I mean, when you're talking with people who actually have burnout, what are you seeing in terms of temperament, efficiency at work? I mean, what are like the telltale signs it's like, hey, you need to take a step back? And what does that look like? When people have it, I mean, then what do you do?
Yeah, and I think that like most of the time, if you think you have burnout, you probably already have burnout. You've already burnt out, you know, by the time you have that.
Burning.
Right. And I think that's where the neuroscience kind of comes in. That's really interesting. And that's this perspective of our body has experienced it and our mind is catching up. Yeah. So by the time that our mind is trying to understand what we've gone through, our body has already been there. Yeah. And so it's in the past. And so by the time you're like cognitively like, oh, I think I'm burning out here, your body's already past that line, right? It's like eating when you're hungry. Well, if you're feeling like you're hungry, you've already been a little bit too late. Not that it's not too late to start, but like, eat the apple, please.
Right. Yeah.
Candy bar, whatever you got to do. But so I think to me, the biggest signs that you are burning out, you are in the process of it, is, oh, let me just get to the weekend. Oh, let me get through this project and I can go home. Yeah. Oh, let me get through this. If you constantly are saying, let me just get past this milestone, your field goal is moving. Like the field goal is constantly moving. And so if you're like, okay, let me just get through this. Let me just power through these 2 weeks. Like right now is CES. You know, like I used to go to CES all the time with Sony. Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas, just for those who don't know what it is. But like, oh, let me just get through this one show. Like, because that's the biggest launch of product for most companies out of the year. Like, let me power through the holidays and get through this time. As soon as you have those thoughts of like, let me just get through it to the next thing, and then there's another thing, that's when you're burning out. But I mean, like that's the problem. That's not taking the smoking break. Yeah. And so what I practice and preach is that you have to take those micro breaks. Yeah. You have to take the smoking break. You have to step away. It's
funny you say that. As like when I came back and everyone's smoking cigs in Europe, and I was like, you know what? Cigs are kind of cool. You know? I was like trying.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Kids, do not smoke.
I was trying to convince everybody. I'm like, they're just hanging out. People are enjoying themselves. They're taking smoking breaks. I mean, you know, take the smoking break. Don't actually smoke, but.
I mean, in the U.S., it has a little different connotation to take a smoking break.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so that is my first indicator of burnout is I just need to get past this and I'll be fine. Yeah. And then you get past it and then you're not past it. The next thing. You know, it's just on to the next thing. Yeah. And that's that condensed hustle culture of like, let's just power through and like, let's just get through this. And like, we see where we're at now is that like, there's lots of businesses that are not growing. There's a lot of stagnation. There's a lot of like, I don't know where the next dollar's coming from. And it's because we've been ingrained to like hustle, hustle, hustle. Like, I can't tell you how many times I see people on social media who are like, I just made $100,000 this month doing this, this, and this. But then if you look at the fine print, it's like, okay, you actually took home maybe a couple $1,000s. Yeah. Like the food that we're being fed. Yeah. Is not real. No. And so we have to take those breaks. We have to step away. There's always been, especially in business, like if everything is urgent, nothing is urgent. Yeah. And so we need to have some kind of perspective on that, perspective on business, perspective on our lives, because we get into these phases of like burnout and then we don't know what to do with ourselves afterwards. Yeah. Because we've been conditioned to push, push, push. And then when there's nothing to push for, you're like, oh, wait, what do I do next? Mm-hmm. And then you try to figure it out, and you go on this life journey and go take the, you know, Pacific Crest Trail hike and do all the live, laugh, love stuff. And it's like, if you were to build it in every single day, if you were to practice it, that's what elite athletes do.
Yeah.
That's how they can show up for, you'll have to correct me, for however many football games each week, you know, like, you know.
Oh, you're asking the wrong guy.
Okay, sorry.
You could say
soccer game,
number,
basketball game, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's how people show up.
Yeah.
It's because of the consistency. It's because of the practice. It's because you're creating a life that you're not going to burn out from.
Yeah.
And so technology helps you build
To do that.
processes and systems so
Yeah.
that you can step away.
So in this stepping away, when you're working with clients and you've identified they have burnout, they need to change something in their lives, what is the first step that is suggested for people?
It's really personal.
Yeah.
It's really what's going on in your life. What can you do? What do you have control over? Because at the end of the day, you have to control the controllables.
Yeah.
Stress and anxiety come from trying to control things that are outside of your control.
Yeah.
And then sitting and ruminating in it, right? Like, that's where that comes from, is like the anxiety is sitting there thinking like, oh no, what am I going to do with myself?
Yeah.
Versus here's what I can control. Here's what I can do, and being able to do that. And so the first step, the very, very first step, is creating boundaries. And I know everybody is like, okay, boundaries, I hear that left and right. So again, going back to definitions, what are boundaries? Boundaries is not what how I expect you to treat me.
Yeah.
It's how I will allow you to treat me.
Yeah.
So if you do something to me, towards me, that I don't agree with, that I don't want to be around, it's me controlling the controllables, taking myself out of that situation. And that is like the hardest thing to do. I firsthand know it's the hardest thing to do. And so creating boundaries and knowing where your line is, like your line can move, like it can shift. It doesn't have to be firm in the sand. Like it can be flexible, but you have to know what you're willing to take and take on. And then building the systems around your life and the processes and the practices in your life to support that life that you want.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, that's important. I think you guys talked about it a lot, but not necessarily, you know, people, you can listen to podcasts, and ironic because we're recording a podcast right now, but you know, podcasts, books, articles, whatever, about burnout, how to fix it, or just whatever. And there's a lot of people that I feel like read or listen or hear all of that. And then, yeah, again, taking that first step to change that, it's tough.
For sure. And there are definitely going to be people in your life that are like, I don't like this new you.
Yeah.
But would you rather spend the rest of your life catering to how they view you, or how you want to be viewed?
Yeah.
How you want to show up? And so that's when it becomes very personal, is like, how do I take ownership of this change? And how do I have processes and systems in place so that when I get that adverse reaction, I know what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
Control the controllables. You can control your reaction to situations. You can't control how other people react to those situations.
Yeah. Yeah. And then how do you couple the technology consulting into that? Because I'm sure you're coming through these and some people are, you know, will have problems and whatnot. And then you're thinking, well, if we just did this, that would help you out and that would fix, you know, a portion of your problem.
I don't think technology comes into the coaching business so much.
Okay.
I do talk to clients about technology and technology use.
Yeah.
So I have one cell phone, but I have an app where my business calls go to. And so I can turn that app off. I can turn those notifications off. That's my boundary of, here are the times that I'm available and you can access me. I don't need to carry around multiple devices. So sometimes you have to create physical boundaries, you know, to maintain them and to respect them yourselves. So I think that's how it comes into play from a technology standpoint in those conversations of like, there are so many people who are like, okay, I go home after work, I take care of dinner, the kids, I do all the things at home, and then I get back online afterwards. Okay, that's cool. If that's how you want to structure your life, that's a break. just as much because I don't have kids and that's not in my lived journey. I have multiple kids, which are my businesses. So I stop one and I do the other one. Same thing with a working parent. They stop their work, they go and they do this other thing, which is their family, and then they turn their work back on. That's fine. But when did you start work for the day?
Yeah.
Did you take a lunch break? Did you start after lunch? And so now you're trying to backfill because you didn't put in the hours that you wanted to, or your boss requires you to do. So there's a lot around boundaries when it comes to work and when you're available and how people can access you. And that's where kind of technology strategy can come into play of, okay, how do I build the systems to support me, not the other way around?
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, is there anything else that you would like? Are there any other businesses? Let's talk about Hike with Her.
Okay.
We haven't really talked about that.
A little bit, but not
a little bit,
not
too much.
Yeah.
What is that? How do we get involved?
Yeah, so it's for women and women identifying and femme presenting. So with the data that we know, and I'm gonna throw some numbers out there.
Go crazy.
Okay, so I already mentioned that 90% of women reinvest their income back into their family and into their communities, as opposed to 30 to 40% of men.
Yeah.
Right. So
do you know why that is? Or have done
I haven't. That's a good question. I will definitely look into that, and then I'll comment on the podcast of what I find. But that's the research that it shows that women reinvest. Yeah. And then another number. Can you guess how many women-owned businesses are in Spokane County?
In Spokane County, I would love it if I knew how many businesses total. I'm gonna say. I don't even have a...
Dead air is not good on a podcast, dude.
Benchmark, 5,000.
5,000, great number. As of the 2022 census, that was almost 4 years ago, right? There were over 11,000. I think it was like 11,500 something businesses in Spokane County owned by women. That's not even led by women. That's owned by women.
Yeah.
That was almost 4 years ago. My business, I didn't have my businesses here when that count was happening. Yeah. Right? So there's probably 15 to 20,000 women-owned businesses in Spokane.
Wow.
With resources leaving. Washington is also #1 in the nation. I believe it's per capita for women-owned businesses starting.
Okay.
We have the highest density in the nation, which is fabulous, right? And so with those numbers there's a shit ton of women who work here. There's almost, 200,000 women in the workforce. And a lot of them have kids and need support. They need that infrastructure, that community resilience. They need the support system to thrive, let alone survive. Yeah. We need each other at the end of the day. So we're talking about hundreds of thousands of women who work here that are reinvesting their income into the community. In addition to that, some of and please don't quote me verbatim, but what I've ventured into with SNAP Women's Business Center, they were investing about $200,000 into the community each year, I believe, for women and minority-owned businesses. That created approximately something like $6 million of impact into the community. With that gone.
Yeah.
There's still some opportunities there, a couple $1 million, let's say, but where's the other couple of millions of dollars that we would be getting coming into this community to support this community? So somewhere between women invest in the community more than men do. So why are we not investing more into women? Yeah. And so that's where Hike with Her comes from. And so Hike with Her is the umbrella company that has 3 different components, 3 different pillars to it. We have the Hike directory. So for any woman-owned or woman-led business, and I say led because there's so many incredible nonprofits here in the community that have full women board, are completely led by women, but maybe they were started by a man, or, you can't own a nonprofit, the same way you can an LLC or, And so it's an opportunity. And with every technology company, right, you have a free version of it. So the directory has a free version of it because it's more important to have visibility than for me to have more dollars in my pocket.
Right.
Like, I don't care about that as much as I do about that visibility. So we've got some amazing, amazing organizations, networks here. We have EWI, we have Vested, we have Junior League. There's so much good stuff for women network-wise. But let's say there's 1,000 people here, 1,000 people there, 1,000 people there. Where are the other 10,000 plus women who own businesses? Yeah. Where are the 100,000 women in the workforce? Where are they? How are they getting their resources? How are they getting the support systems that they need? So the directory is that first step in the process. The second step is community. What are we missing? And like, that's the journey that I'm on right now, is like, let's have this conversation. Now that Hike with Her is there, now that we have the Hike directory, hikedirectory.com, now that we have that there, what do we need? How can we build it? Coming from a tech perspective, and also, I know this is gonna be crazy to think about, but I'm an introvert. I get drained doing this kind of stuff. Like, I get drained, so I gotta go home and like, take my smoking break, right? Yeah. And so like, how many people out there can't leave their house? Yeah. Because they've got stuff to take care of, their own health, their children, whatever it is. So how do we build a community online that can support that networking? And that's also kind of where the directory comes from, because it's a 24/7 lead generator for your business. It creates backlinks for your SEO. Like, it does a lot of that visibility work for you. And it's because us as a community are driving traffic there. Yeah. Because if you look at the last time I checked was in October, but we had 119 women-owned businesses registered with the state. 119. Yeah. Out of over 11,000 businesses as of 2022. Like, why is that number so low? Number one, they don't understand what the value add is. Yeah. The process can be a little bit tedious, but there's so many people that can help you with that. So this is a directory of like, I'm gonna verify that you are women-owned, women-led. I'm gonna check in on you. But other than that, like, you do you, you know? So where are these women at? Where are they at? Like, what are they doing? If you put into ChatGPT, women-owned businesses in Spokane County, the last time I did it, it pulled up 22, 23. And so you have to call out that you are a woman-owned business in your SEO. Or you could put yourself on the directory and I'll do it for you. Yeah. And then the community aspect of like, maybe there's a digital community that we need to build. Maybe there's other networking events that we need, that you give me the feedback and I go to Vested, or I go to GSI, or I go to like, and I help you bridge the gap into the network that you want to be in. So it's the trailhead for you to have access to the community. And then in the future, in the long distance future, is Hike Capital. And that's broken down into two segments, of one being mentorship. So how do we take new high school grads, how do we take new university grads, and we help bridge that network for them so that they can enter the workforce, so they can get their first job, so they can find a mentor who's doing something that they're interested in. How can we connect that through a mentorship platform or whatever that looks like in the future? And then how do we fund all of these things? Yeah. Like, how do we bring that money back into our community? And so my goal is that through this, there are different tiers and stuff of membership. And my dream is that 50% of every membership at minimum goes into a collective community pot that gets funded back into the community or funneled back into the community. Yeah. Plus, there's sponsorship opportunities. There's, if you're listening, I would love to talk to you at the, the Spokane Angel Alliance, of like, how do we bring funding to women-owned businesses? Yeah. And so it's not necessarily about me doing it by myself over here in a corner. It's how do we connect people in the community? How do we build those bridges? How do we create that network that that infrastructure so that people have access to the resources. I've been here for almost 4 years or almost 5 years now, and I'm still finding people. I'm still finding pockets of information. And I'm like, oh, have you talked to this person? Oh, I don't know who that person is. Like, let's connect people. Let's be the ligaments that connect people together. And that is, you know, what I have found every time that I've gone to another country.
Yeah.
Is, oh, that's already there because it's had to be there, because we've needed it. It has had to be there for me to survive, for the other expats to survive. And so that is the foundation of what Hike with Her is how do we build that network and infrastructure? I don't have to be in it every single day, but it's there and it's growing and it's working on its own to help create that visibility and help create that greater impact in the community. Because there's different milestones along your journey in life and in business. You enter the workforce, you grow within the workforce, and then you leave the workforce, right? So if you are in the workforce, as in you work for a company, you join a company, you grow, you get a different title, you get a different salary, whatever, you retire. It might not be that linear, but for this conversation, we'll keep it quite linear. Whereas if you own a business, you start the business, you're scaling the business, and then you're selling the business, you're exiting the business in some kind of way. So what do you need at those key milestones in that process? And how can we make sure that we have that infrastructure already established so that you know where to go to get what you need?
That's awesome. I love talking about all this stuff because there has not been a single topic that you haven't been just absolutely super passionate about. Every single aspect, you've just been like, oh my God, let me tell you all about it. I love that. I love talking to people that are just all in on everything they're doing. And that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Stephanie, thank you so much for being on and sharing your story and all about your businesses. If people want to reach out to you and talk to you, maybe find out more about all of them, one of them, each, your life story, any of that, where can people reach out to you, find you, talk to you?
I'm on everything. Again, my background's in marketing, so I'm on all the social media platforms. So check me out on LinkedIn, Stephanie High. You can also find, if you want the mental performance coaching and trauma-informed coaching, that is KaizenCatalyst.com. If you want to get into the tech, that's KaizenCX.biz or KaizenCRM.biz, depending on how you want to get into that. And then Hike with Her is either hikewithher.com or hikedirectory.com. And again, free listing there. Get in it if you have a woman-owned or woman-led business, because I'm here to help you amplify your message. Like, everybody wants to make a deeper impact on the world around them, and that's the way that I'm trying to help other people amplify their impact.
I love it. Awesome. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.